Right now, your body is covered in a living layer you can't see. On every inch of your skin, in the grease of your hair, tucked into your armpits, there are millions of bacteria and tiny mites, feeding, breeding, living their whole lives on you. And you keep them mostly in check with one weapon: soap. Hot water, once a day, and the whole ecosystem gets wiped down and reset. But that weapon is brand new. For almost the entire history of our species, no one had it. No soap, no shampoo, no hot shower, hundreds of thousands of years of humans who never once washed the way you do. So why weren't they walking clouds of filth and disease? Because the truth is, they weren't dirty the way you think. And what actually kept them clean is stranger and smarter than anything in your bathroom. Let's start with the obvious question. What happens if you just stop? Stop showering. Stop using soap entirely. And the answer surprises almost everyone. For the first few weeks, you'd get greasy and you'd smell. Your skin produces an oil called sebum, and without soap stripping it away, it builds up. But here's the thing. Your body doesn't just keep producing more and more forever. It self-regulates. After a few weeks to a couple of months, sebum production settles. The bacteria on your skin reach a balance. And a lot of people who've actually done this report that the smell fades, the greasiness levels off, and their skin ends up less irritated than when they were scrubbing it every day. Because here's what most people don't realize. That layer of bacteria and oil isn't the enemy. It's a barrier. It's the first line of defense your skin has against the things that actually hurt you. This is called the skin microbiome. Trillions of microorganisms living on your surface, and most of them are working for you. They eat the sweat and oil. They crowd out dangerous bacteria by taking up all the space and food. Some of them even produce their own natural antibiotics to kill off invaders. Modern soap, especially the harsh antibacterial kind, doesn't just remove dirt. It strips this whole protective layer away, and your body has to rebuild it every single time. Early humans never disrupted that system. Their skin ran the way it evolved to run, in balance. So the picture of a filthy, disease-ridden caveman is mostly wrong. But that doesn't mean they did nothing, because they had a problem soap solves for us, and they had to solve it another way. That problem is smell, and more importantly, parasites. Even a balanced microbiome doesn't stop lice, fleas, and ticks. And out in the wild, those aren't just itchy, they carry disease. So what did early humans do? They did exactly what every other primate does. They groomed each other. Watch a group of chimpanzees or monkeys and you'll see them spend hours picking through each other's fur, removing insects, dirt, dead skin, scabs. It looks like simple hygiene, and it is, but it's also something much bigger. Primate grooming is the glue that holds the whole group together. When one animal grooms another, both of their brains release endorphins, the same chemicals you get from a hug or from exercise. It builds trust. It settles conflict. It says, "I'm on your side." For early humans, cleaning each other wasn't a chore. It was social. It was bonding. It was how you told someone you cared about them without a single word. And then something happened that changed human hygiene forever. We lost our fur. Somewhere along the line, our ancestors became the naked ape, with bare skin and just a few patches of hair left. Now think about what that does. You can't really groom fur that isn't there. So the endless picking through hair ritual had to shrink. But we didn't lose the need to bond. So a lot of scientists think this is exactly when language started filling the gap. Instead of grooming each other for hours, we started talking to each other. Gossip, storytelling, laughing around a fire. Talking is grooming for a species that lost its fur. It reaches more people at once, and it does the same job, building the bonds that keep a group alive. Your entire social life might exist because your ancestors couldn't pick bugs off each other anymore. But losing our fur did something else. Something incredible. It turned us into the best sweaters in the animal kingdom. Most mammals barely sweat. They cool down by panting, which limits how long and hard they can move. But a human, with bare skin and millions of sweat glands, can dump heat continuously while still running. This is the secret behind one of the strangest things our species ever did: persistence hunting. Early humans couldn't outrun a deer or an antelope in a sprint. Nothing close. But they could do something no predator on Earth could. They could jog after it for hours in the midday heat. The animal would sprint away, then have to stop and pant to cool down. The humans just kept coming, sweating, cooling, never stopping, until the animal literally overheated and collapsed. We didn't catch prey with speed. We caught it by being the species that could stay cool the longest. And that entire superpower depends on bare, sweaty, unwashed skin doing its job. Of course, sweat brings us back to smell. And here's where it gets interesting, because early humans absolutely used scent. They just weren't trying to erase it. Body odor carries an enormous amount of information. It signals your health, your diet, whether you're related to someone, even compatibility as a mate. Studies show people can identify their own family members by smell alone, and that we're often unconsciously drawn to the scent of partners whose immune systems differ from ours, which produces healthier children. For early humans, smell wasn't something to scrub off. It was a language. Washing it all away with soap would have meant deleting information they actually relied on. You are the first humans in history trying to smell like nothing at all. But early humans weren't completely hands-off either. They did clean, just not with soap. Water was the obvious tool. Humans have always been drawn to rivers, lakes, and hot springs, and a rinse in cold water removes dirt, cools you down, and knocks off some parasites without stripping your skin. Some groups rubbed themselves with sand or clay, which absorbs oil and lifts grime, basically a natural exfoliant. Others used smoke. Sitting near a fire doesn't just warm you, the smoke drives off insects, and its compounds have a mild antibacterial effect. There's a reason so many cultures developed sweat lodges and smoke rituals. It was cleaning, disguised as ceremony. And then there were plants. All over the world, people independently discovered plants that foam up in water because they contain natural soap-like compounds called saponins, soapwort, certain roots, yucca, horse chestnut. Long before manufactured soap, humans were crushing these plants to wash their skin and hair. They were reading the chemistry of the world around them and finding cleaning agents growing straight out of the ground. So when did actual soap show up? Later than you'd think. The earliest known recipe comes from ancient Babylon, around 2800 BC. A mix of animal fat and ash. But here's the twist. For most of history, soap wasn't for the body. It was for cleaning wool, textiles, and treating medical conditions. The idea of washing your whole body with soap regularly every day in your own private bathroom is shockingly recent. For most people, daily showering only became normal in the last 100 years or so, once indoor plumbing and cheap soap and advertising all arrived at once. Companies needed to sell soap, so they taught entire populations that their natural state was dirty and shameful. The feeling that you're gross if you skip a shower isn't ancient wisdom. It was, in large part, sold to you. So how did early humans survive without ever washing? They didn't need to, not the way we mean it. They kept a living shield of bacteria that protected their skin instead of stripping it away. They groomed each other and turned cleaning into connection. They lost their fur and gained sweat, language, and the ability to run prey into the ground. They used their smell instead of hiding it. And when they did want to clean, they used water, sand, smoke, and plants pulled straight from their environment. They weren't filthy. They were balanced, in a way we've spent the last century undoing. The next time you stand in a hot shower scrubbing every trace of yourself away, remember that for 200,000 years, your ancestors did just fine without it. They survived ice ages, hunted across continents, and built the first human societies, all while carrying the exact same skin you're trying so hard to sterilize. Clean isn't the same thing as healthy, and the cleanest humans who have ever lived might just be the ones who understood their own bodies the least.